A company that once built 1 in 3 phones on Earth doesn't make phones anymore. It doesn't exist. Nokia sold off the wreckage for a fraction of what it was worth. BlackBerry didn't even bother staying in hardware at all. 15 years earlier, Nokia was untouchable. It controlled 40% of every phone sold worldwide. Meanwhile, BlackBerry ruled a different kingdom. Nearly every executive, banker, and government office constantly ran their entire day through its keyboard and its inbox. Losing your BlackBerry felt like losing a limb. Here's the misconception. Most people think Nokia and BlackBerry simply missed the smartphone wave. That's not what happened. Both companies saw touchscreens coming years before the iPhone. They just bet the future would look like their present. Nokia's problem wasn't ignorance, it was math. A touchscreen phone would cost more to make and cannibalize the cheap, wildly profitable phones flying off shelves everywhere. So Nokia kept betting on plastic buttons. BlackBerry's own founder wasn't worried. He called the iPhone a nice reader and a camera. His company had built its entire empire on physical keyboards that executives couldn't imagine typing without. Touchscreens would never work, he said. Then, on January 9, 2007, Steve Jobs changed everything. There was no keyboard, no stylus, just a screen, and that was the entire point. Rivals laughed. Subscribe now before the twist gets wild. One Nokia engineer called it a toy that wouldn't survive a pocket. Nobody inside either company believed a phone without a keyboard could last 6 months in the real world. A year later, Apple opened the App Store. Suddenly, it wasn't just a phone anymore. It was a bank, a camera, a game console, a flashlight, and a map, all inside one pocket. Nokia and BlackBerry were still selling hardware. Apple sold something else entirely. By 2010, Nokia's market share was crumbling. 3 years later, it had fallen from 50% to about 3%. 3%. The company that once ruled a third of the entire planet's phones had nearly vanished from smartphones entirely. BlackBerry's fall looked different, but ended the same way. Corporate clients who'd sworn by their keyboards wanted iPhones instead. They didn't want 2 phones. They wanted one phone that did everything. Nokia's ending came fast. In 2013, a struggling Nokia sold its entire phone business to Microsoft for about $7 billion. It sounds like a lot, until you remember Nokia was worth over $300 billion. The company that invented the modern mobile phone couldn't survive the phone it refused to build. BlackBerry held on a little longer, pivoting to software and quietly exiting phones for good by 2016. But here's the part nobody mentions. Both companies saw this coming. So why didn't seeing it coming save them? The real answer is uncomfortable. Nokia and BlackBerry weren't stupid. They were protecting a business model that made them rich, right up until the day it made them irrelevant. Innovating against yourself feels like losing money on purpose, and almost no company wants to do that voluntarily. Apple did the opposite. It let the iPhone cannibalize its own wildly popular iPod on purpose, before anyone else could. That single decision is worth studying more than almost anything else in modern business history. Here's the part that stings the most. Inside Nokia, engineers had actually already built something close to a modern smartphone years before the iPhone existed. Leadership shelved it to protect feature phone profits. The device could have beaten Apple. Instead, it sat in a drawer. BlackBerry had the same story. Its labs tested touchscreens years before the iPhone shipped. Leadership worried customers wouldn't trust typing on a screen. They were right. Then Apple proved them wrong. Today, neither company sells a phone anyone recognizes. The two empires that once controlled the entire industry combined don't hold even 1% of the smartphone market now. One product, launched in an afternoon, ended 2 empires within a decade. This isn't a one-time story either. Kodak invented the digital camera and buried it to protect film. The pattern repeats because protecting the present always feels safer than betting on the future. The lesson isn't really about phones. It's about what happens when success makes you afraid to compete with yourself. The next Nokia already exists somewhere, and it probably feels just as unbeatable right now as Nokia once did. If you want to see which giant falls next, that story's waiting.